What would you do if your roommate disappeared and the police found her DNA mixed with someone else's blood in your apartment? This is the true story of how one small lie unraveled into one of the most chilling confessions in criminal history. It was October 15th, 2019, when Sarah Mitchell's mother made the call that would change everything. Her daughter hadn't answered her phone in 3 days. Sarah, a 24-year-old graduate student in Portland, Oregon, always checked in with her family, always. When police arrived at the apartment Sarah shared with her roommate, Jessica Crane, something felt wrong immediately. Jessica answered the door wearing rubber gloves, claiming she was cleaning. The apartment reeked of bleach. Every surface gleamed unnaturally. Too clean. Suspiciously clean. "Where's Sarah?" Officer Davidson asked. Jessica's story was simple. Sarah had left 3 days ago to visit a friend in Seattle. She'd seemed upset about school. Jessica hadn't heard from her since, but Sarah's car was still in the parking lot. Her phone, wallet, and laptop were still in her room. Her mother insisted Sarah would never leave without these items. Detective Maria Reeves took over the case. Something about Jessica's demeanor bothered her. The woman was too calm, too rehearsed. Her answers came quickly, perhaps too quickly, as if she'd been preparing for these questions. "Mind if we look around?" Detective Reeves asked. Jessica hesitated for just a moment, just one breath too long. "Of course not, I have nothing to hide." The forensics team arrived with luminol, a chemical that makes blood glow under UV light even after it's been cleaned. What they found would make your blood run cold. The living room lit up like a constellation. Blood spatter patterns covered the walls, the couch, the floor. Someone had tried desperately to clean it, but luminol doesn't lie. This wasn't a small accident, this was a crime scene. Jessica's face went white. I can explain." "Then explain," Detective Reeves said coldly. Jessica's story shifted. Sarah had come home drunk, they'd argued, and Sarah had accidentally cut herself badly on a broken glass. There was blood everywhere. Jessica had panicked and cleaned it up. Sarah had been embarrassed and left to stay with friends. But the blood pattern told a different story. Forensic analysis revealed something Jessica couldn't explain away. Cast-off patterns consistent with a violent attack. Blood on the ceiling. Defensive spray patterns. And then, the discovery that sealed Jessica's fate. Behind the washing machine, a forensic technician found a single fingernail torn off at the root. Sarah's fingernail. DNA tests would later confirm it had been ripped off during a desperate struggle. Jessica's calm facade finally cracked. Her hands trembled. Sweat beaded on her forehead. Detective Reeves watched her carefully, knowing they were close to the truth. "Jessica, where is Sarah Mitchell?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Jessica opened her mouth, then closed it, opened it again. The walls were closing in, and she knew it. 23 years of lying to friends, family, teachers, and herself had led to this moment. What Jessica said next would lead police on a search that would haunt them for years to come. Jessica Crane sat in that interrogation room, surrounded by evidence of violence she couldn't explain away. The blood patterns, the torn fingernail, the missing roommate. And then after 6 hours of questioning, she finally broke. "She's in the forest," Jessica whispered. "I can take you there." Detective Reeves felt her stomach drop. Those words confirmed their worst fears. This wasn't a missing person case anymore. This was murder. But Jessica wasn't done talking. Once she started, the truth poured out like poison. It had started with jealousy. Sarah had everything Jessica wanted. A loving family, academic success, a boyfriend who adored her, friends who genuinely cared. Jessica had grown up in foster care, struggled in school, and watched Sarah's perfect life with growing resentment. She didn't appreciate what she had, Jessica said, her voice devoid of emotion. She complained about her mother calling too much. She complained about her boyfriend being too attentive. She had everything, and it still wasn't enough for her. The breaking point came on October 12th. Sarah had received a job offer at a prestigious research facility. She'd been celebrating, talking about her future, her dreams. Jessica had been passed over for the same position. I asked her to quiet down. I had a headache. She laughed at me. She actually laughed. What happened next, according to Jessica's confession, was brutal. She'd grabbed a hammer from the toolkit under the kitchen sink. Sarah had been sitting on the couch, phone in hand, texting her mother about the good news. Jessica claimed she'd only meant to scare her. to make her feel just once what it was like to be powerless. But the first blow led to a second and then a third. Sarah had tried to fight back, scratching, screaming, struggling. That's when her fingernail had torn off. She kept asking why, Jessica said flatly. Even at the end, she kept asking why I was doing this. After Sarah stopped moving, Jessica had panicked. She'd spent hours cleaning, scrubbing, bleaching. She'd wrapped Sarah's body in garbage bags and stored it in the trunk of her own car, waiting for darkness. At 2 a.m., Jessica had driven to Mount Hood National Forest, a dense woodland area 2 hours from Portland. She'd hiked half a mile off the trail, digging a shallow grave with a folding shovel she'd bought weeks earlier with cash. Weeks earlier? Detective Reeves interrupted. You bought the shovel weeks before this happened? Jessica's eyes met the detective's for the first time. There was something cold there, something calculated. I bought it a month before. I'd been thinking about it for a while. This wasn't a crime of passion, this was premeditated murder. Jessica had been planning Sarah's death, waiting for the right moment, the right excuse. The job offer, the laughter, the perceived disrespect. These were just triggers for something Jessica had been fantasizing about for months. The search team mobilized immediately. With Jessica in custody and providing directions, dozens of officers and volunteers headed into Mount Hood National Forest. The area was vast, over 1,000 square miles of dense woodland. As dawn broke over the forest, search dogs picked up a scent. Officers followed them deeper into the woods, their flashlights cutting through the morning mist. And then they found her. Search dogs had picked up Sarah Mitchell's scent deep in Mount Hood National Forest. As officers pushed through the undergrowth following Jessica Crane's directions, they were about to discover the final horrifying truth. The grave was exactly where Jessica said it would be. Shallow, hastily dug, covered with branches and leaves. As forensic teams carefully excavated the site, the full horror of what Jessica had done became clear. Sarah Mitchell's body showed signs of at least 15 blows to the head and torso. The medical examiner would later testify that she had likely remained conscious for several minutes during the attack, aware of what was happening to her. But the investigation revealed something even more disturbing. When police obtained a warrant to search Jessica's laptop and phone, they found a folder labeled Research. Inside were hundreds of files, articles about unsolved murders, forensic cleaning techniques, how to dispose of bodies, and detailed notes about Sarah's daily routines. Jessica had been stalking her own roommate, documenting her schedule, her relationships, her vulnerabilities. There were journal entries dating back 8 months, filled with violent fantasies and cold calculations about when and how to act. One entry, written just 2 weeks before the murder, read, "She trusts me completely, she'll never see it coming." That's what makes it perfect. During the trial, prosecutors painted a picture of a deeply disturbed individual who had masked her true nature behind a friendly facade. Roommates from Jessica's past came forward with disturbing stories. Missing belongings, pets that had died mysteriously, subtle acts of sabotage and manipulation. Sarah's family sat in the courtroom every single day, watching the woman who had murdered their daughter show no remorse whatsoever. Jessica remained calm and emotionless throughout the proceedings, occasionally taking notes as if she were observing someone else's trial. The defense attempted to argue diminished capacity, claiming Jessica had suffered from undiagnosed mental illness stemming from childhood trauma. But the premeditation was undeniable. The shopping receipts for cleaning supplies bought weeks in advance, the shovel, the research files, the detailed planning. On March 3, 2021, after just 4 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict: guilty of first-degree murder. Jessica Crane was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As the judge read the sentence, Sarah's mother sobbed. Her father sat stone-faced, his hand gripping his wife's. They would never see their daughter graduate, never attend her wedding, never meet their grandchildren, all because Jessica Crane couldn't handle someone else's happiness. Detective Reeves still thinks about the case. She's investigated dozens of murders, but something about Jessica's cold calculation haunts her. Most killers show some emotion, anger, fear, regret. Jessica showed nothing. It was like she'd turned off a switch inside herself. Jessica remains in a maximum security facility in Oregon. She's never expressed remorse, never apologized to Sarah's family. In a prison interview conducted 2 years after her conviction, she said only, "Everyone wants to be the main character in their own story. Sarah was in my way. Sarah Mitchell was 24 years old when she died. She'd wanted to be a research scientist, to make discoveries that would help people. Instead, she became a cautionary tale about the monsters that can hide behind familiar faces. The apartment where Sarah died has been demolished, but her memory lives on through a scholarship fund established by her family for graduate students in the sciences. Sometimes the darkness doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it lives next door, shares your space, and waits for the perfect moment to strike. This is Whisper of Dark, reminding you that true horror doesn't always hide in shadows. Sometimes it sits across from you at breakfast. Subscribe if you dare to hear more stories that will keep you awake at night. And remember, trust your instincts. They might just save your life.